It's 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and you know what that means, don't you? It's a special edition of Taxi TV Live. This week, starring our special guest, Mr. Jason Blume. Yeah. Back for the second time in like 12 days or something, or whatever. It hasn't been very long. Welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. Actually, it's been a month, but time flies.
It
when
really
you're having
does.
fun.
It feels like you were here like 3 days ago. So, Jason is a hit songwriter. I think everybody knows him, but just for the sake of being, for those of you who don't know, Jason's songs have been on over 45 million records.
More than 50, but
More
who's,
than 50
but who's
million
counting?
records. Britney Spears cuts.
Backstreet Boys, 6 country singles. But again, who's counting?
Yeah, well, you know, it's worth counting because it's a big accomplishment. And he is one of the great teachers of songwriting of all time. He's beloved by all. Except for somebody at a recent class that was upset that he only played half the guy's song. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is we are going to listen to 5 songs. Jason's going to do critiques. The first song in the stack, we didn't get the lyric sheet back from the person that submitted it yet. Normally, Jason wouldn't critique a song without the lyric sheet being there, but he said he would do it for the sake of the show today. And then the next 4 we do have lyric sheets on, and we've got a few questions that we're going to interweave as well. So without any further ado, that's the best I'm going to do on French. We are going to listen to a song called Step Into the Light by Chris Nibel, I believe is the pronunciation on that. And let's have a listen.
Step into the light. Step into the light. Some will die for money. Some just strive for glory. So we'll get high beneath the stars tonight, and I will climb a waterfall just to be by your side tonight. Step into the light, yeah. Step into the light, yeah. Down a waterfall, yeah. You would climb a waterfall, whoa. You can give me courage, and I can take away your pain. So we'll get lost beneath the stars tonight, and I will climb a waterfall just to be by your side tonight. Step into the light, yeah. Step into the light, yeah. Now I climb a waterfall, yeah. You would climb a waterfall, gonna climb a waterfall for you. Step into the light. Step into the light.
All right, so there we go. That was "Step Into the Night" by
Okay.
Chris Nibel or Nibel. And somebody noted in the chat room, Jason's working really hard. Yeah, he's intense. Hey, he's not really not intense, but he's working intensely.
Yes.
He did get a lot of notes on that. Okay.
Okay. I think you said "step into the night," but it says "step into the light."
I could have read that
Now,
wrong.
that is a big issue for me. And first of all, I got to tell you, Chris, you did a great job. Without teacher hat on, it just sounds fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't even be critiquing anything about it, and especially without a lyric sheet in front of me. But here I am with the teacher hat on, it's invisible. And the big issue for me, I think it sounds so strong, but the heart of your song is "step into the light." I'm not sure what that means in this context. Everything else is working. Listen, your pre-chorus line that's leading into that title is, "I'd die to be by your side tonight. Step into the light." I'm not quite getting. I mean, I think it's a really interesting
Could it
thing
be
to say.
a religious song, a religious connotation? Going to meet your maker, step into the light, dying? Might be a stretch on my part, but I'm trying to think of
No,
what it means.
from the rest of the lyric, I just didn't get that at
Okay.
all. I think what it is for me is just a disconnect
Okay.
that we don't have a lyric that's leading to that title. Maybe Chris knows exactly what it means to step into the light, but to me, if you're going to step into the light, that does not connect for me to mean we're going to be together or come to me, or it's just it's an interesting sounding phrase, but I don't think you're setting it up. And then you do sort of your one line bridge thing that's, "I would cry a waterfall for you," which I think is a really strong way, a unique way to say I would do anything, or not "I would cry tears," or "I would cry a river" that we've heard before, but "I would cry a waterfall." That's really strong. But again, the next line is "step into the light," and for me, there's just no, it doesn't connect. I want to hear, I want to be, if I'm going to say "step into the light," I'm going to set that up with something like, "I want to see you step into the light," or something, some
Something that makes it
connection.
cohesive, right?
Yeah, and that's my only issue. I mean, the sound is fantastic. Melody works great. Everything about it sounds great. That's the one issue for me.
It was very 80s influenced. And I
Yeah.
was sitting there trying to guess, a lot of indie pop now sounds very 80s influence. And I was trying to guess if Chris was making this 80s influence to make it sound like current indie pop, or if it's just generally, dated sounding back to the 80s. But I do know that this could get used absolutely for a lot of film and TV placements.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Where
Yeah.
they want 80s sounding stuff because
Yeah.
it's something that takes place in the 80s, and they need to set the mood or the time, put a timestamp on it. I saw somebody ask in the chat room, how do we know to get lyrics to you? Sophia, our producer, just randomly picks the songs, and when she picks the stuff, she reaches out to people and says, "Send me back a lyric sheet." So that's how we do that. All right. Well, thank you for that, Jason, and thanks
Sure.
for submitting it, Chris. And let's move on. Okay, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to try and interweave some of your stuff.
Okay.
What was it that you learned from interviewing more than 50 publishers? And were these like formal interviews that you did for the book or something? They weren't just like over coffee.
Actually, I did a lot of formal interviews for my book, but that's not what I was really referring to.
Okay.
I've been doing the BMI Songwriters Workshops in Nashville for 19 years. I was 7 when I started. And every other month, everybody in the workshop gets to pitch a song to a major Nashville publisher. So if you think it's impossible to get your song heard by a publisher, you show up at my workshop, it's guaranteed. And it's free, by the way. But it's tough to get into because it's always full. But that's another story. So over the years, I was calculating probably at least 50 publishers sit next to me and listen to songs. And as part of it, I asked them questions. I asked them, every question that I think I'd want to know if I were a writer.
You are a writer, just so you know.
Right, but if I were a writer who was sitting out there,
Got
who
it.
was still sitting out there, because I sat out there for a lot of years. Okay. Something really interesting that just came up a week ago. We had Butch Baker from Hori Pro, great song guy. And I can't even explain the looks on the faces of the students when he said that his professional staff writers turn in 20 to 25 songs before he'll choose 5 to demo fully. And I was thinking to myself, so many people, every song you write has to be demoed.
Right.
And a lot of people are spending $800, $900, whatever, to do that. Other people
Like a real studio demo versus something done on Pro Tools.
Right, but other people, I was going to say, are spending 12 hours or 16 hours on Pro Tools to demo this. And here I get the input that top professional staff writers are demoing 20% of what they're writing.
Yeah.
And Butch said that those songs are typically going to be only the up-tempo songs. That the ballads, he's going to tell his writers, do a great guitar vocal, do a great piano vocal, and that's going to be good enough for me to pitch it. So that was, I think, one of the most interesting things that surprised me.
Really? I don't find that surprising. Just yesterday I was talking to 2 of the guys on my staff, and they said, just so you know, virtually every meeting I've ever been to in Nashville, they say, you got any tempo? Meaning up-tempo.
Wait a minute. That's not the surprising part.
I know.
Everybody's asking for tempo.
Right.
Yeah.
If you've got a ballad, it's got to be better than I Will Always Love You. It's got to be at that level or better before they're interested, because ballads don't get a lot of radio attention.
Right. And over and over and over again, my own publisher in Nashville would say to me over the years, write more up-tempo songs.
Yeah.
Please bring me up-tempo songs. And I was a ballad guy.
Yep.
And I had a lot of successes with ballads. Now, would I have had more successful career if I had listened to my publisher and written more up-tempo songs? The truth of the matter is, I think I would have.
Hey, you could have been on 100 million records.
That's right. But I don't think I would have been as satisfied with what I was writing. But that is one of the things that I learned from 50 publishers or more, is everybody wants up-tempo songs. I don't think I've ever had a publisher walk in the door and say, bring me your ballad. Bring me your slow song. That's what we need. It doesn't happen.
And let's go back to the what you demo and what you don't demo. Technically, a guitar vocal demo or guitar vocal is a demo, or a piano vocal is a demo. We tell this to taxi members all the time. Before you spend the money or the time to do a full-blown demo, send it in for a custom critique and find out how to tweak it to make it absolutely right, especially if you're going to take that and put it on a CD and press it up at or at disc makers. Why not go, take it from a B+ to an A if you can for $20? Take it to Jason, take it to any of the song coaches. Do whatever you can before you go to the trouble of fully producing it.
When I teach a demo lecture, that's the very first thing I teach. I say to people, what's the first step in doing a demo? Get the song approved.
Yeah.
And every song is never going to be demo worthy. Everything can't be the best. And yet, the people who are taking my workshops are demoing everything they're writing. They're spending more money on demos than the pro hit writers.
Right. Remember last time you were here, I don't know what I did with it now, but I played the piano vocal demo of the song that got cut by, I can never remember the name of the band. Anyway, if your song is that great, if the songwriting is that great, it's obvious with a piano or a guitar vocal demo.
If it's the right kind of a song.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to work for something that's beat-driven.
Right, exactly.
But it's amazing how many people think I can have a B+ and take it to A with the production.
Right. The problem is that all of the competition is doing the same level of production.
Right.
So everything, if you're going from B+ to A, everything is A. You better be A+.
Right. Their songs are going to be A and the production. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Wait, just let me tell you. One other thing I keep hearing from publishers over and over and over again is bring me something different. Bring me a hook I have never heard before. Bring me a melody that slaps me out of my trance and makes me go, oh my God, I've got to have that song. And perfectly crafted and really good is not going to do it. It's just that's the starting point. Great. You can get to perfectly crafted and really good. Bravo. You need to be there. Now infuse that with a concept, melodically and lyrically, that a publisher is going to say, I've never heard that before.
Right.
Wow.
You see the word fresh. I've been hearing it for as long as I've owned this company, and you see it in our listings all the time.
Yeah.
They want, for country music in particular, they want songs that are conversational, number one, songs that have a lot of visual descriptions. You know, I walked up the creaky stairs. I saw the picture of Grandpa hanging crooked on the wall. And they want it said in a way that's never been done before. Otherwise, it's the same old crap.
Exactly. Now, speaking of the same old crap, is this a good time to talk about the mashup thing?
Yeah. By the way, some of you guys already mentioned this on our forum the other day. I got some emails about it. Jason walked in. First thing he said is, remind me to talk about the mashup. So go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Here's the deal. If you haven't heard about this, there's this country mashup where one of my songwriting students, Greg Todd, put together 6 big hit country songs and sort of combined them to make the point that everything sounds alike in country music. Well, it has exploded. More than 4 million YouTube views. And I almost dropped my breakfast yesterday when I'm reading USA Today. And there it is in USA Today, all about this mashup. Now, what was interesting that I wanted to share about it, a couple of things. First of all, Greg did an amazing job to make the songs sound more alike than they really sounded on the radio. What did he do? He put them all in the same key.
Right.
He altered the tempos to make them all the exact same tempo. And sure, now it sounded closer. But there is a lot of similarity in these songs. And in the USA Today article, what a musicologist was quoted as saying is that the public wants 5 to 10% completely fresh and original. And the rest, they need to feel comfortable with it. They need it to feel familiar. And it's so interesting, and because that's a lot of what I teach. I'm telling people, let's look at what works, what people are used to hearing, what people are proving that they want to hear, but then you better tweak it and make it sound totally fresh and original. But 10%.
Right.
I'd go higher than that.
I've
go
always
20%.
I've always said 15,
more.
but we're in the same ballpark. But because they need the familiarity because they want the song to telegraph. Here comes the pre-chorus. Here comes the chorus. That makes it comfortable for the listener. But having really good little, like an instrumental hook in the intro, having a little rhythmic hook that's a little different, and you go, ooh. That's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes such perfect sense.
I'm looking at the things that just came in, so let me just say, hey, Ave, great to sort of see you. So
I know Ave as well.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yes, I agree.
All right. Well, yeah. So, is there any bottom line to the mashup? I mean, you've already given, make it comfortable and familiar, but somewhat different. Did the mashup make Nashville look bad or country music look bad?
Yeah, and I have been hearing for a long time how the people, the pros in Nashville, I don't know about the listeners, but the pros are sick of the same old trucks and tailgating and girls with, painted on jeans and Daisy Dukes and partying all night down by the river and whatever. Well, I want to tell you that every publisher that's coming through my workshop is saying to me that they're telling their staff writers, do not bring me that anymore. It's over. It's done. I won't pitch it anymore. Now, what's next? They're all saying, bring me the next big thing. So, of course, I say to them, well, what is the next big thing? And they say, I don't know. But I absolutely know it's not what the same old thing is.
And I'll know it when I hear it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that next big thing better sound consistent with country radio, but better have some new twist on it. Like right now, the big hot thing in Nashville is hip-hop influences.
Right.
At my workshop last week, the publisher took a song that I would have just sworn 2-3 years ago, this will never, ever be on country radio. And it sounded so perfect. I mean, the verses, the rhythms, it might as well have been a rapper.
Well, I think we talked about this last time, but I'm not sure if I wrote about it or we talked about it. But it's because the listening audience for country radio grew up with hip hop.
Yeah.
So it was a timing thing. You had to get people at the right age that liked hip hop
Mhm.
and liked country, and then put the two together, and
Right.
you've got the sweet spot.
Right. So you know what? Somebody was the first person who thought, I'm going to infuse some hip hop
Mhm.
into this country. Well, what's next? You know, people, it's your job.
Dubstep country,
Maybe.
although
I don't know.
dubstep seems to have slid down a little bit. Wow, some form of electronic country.
Maybe. I was amazed right now. A lot of people are writing to tracks
Yeah.
in country using drum loops and writing, meaning starting with the musical track, the musical bed, and putting melody and lyrics on top of it. I never thought I'd live to see that day,
Wow.
but it's happening a lot. The big country hit Rodney Adkins' "Take a Dirt Road" track came first. Yeah, and that's got some hip hop. I see somebody wrote hick hop.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I also see a sigh. But you know what? Look, whenever anything new happens, especially in Nashville, everybody in town poo-poos it when it first happens. I remember when Shania first broke.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in town hated Shania, the old guard. It's like, ew.
Mhm.
And then everybody wanted to get a cut on her records. And then Taylor Swift's like, ew, everybody loved to
Right,
get a cut
right.
on her records, but she's
Mhm.
working with Max Martin. She's not writing with country writers, and she's morphed into a pop star.
Right.
But you can stay stuck. Then there's nothing wrong with what you like is what you like.
Right.
But
I
the
want to
industry
answer.
wants new and
There's a
fresh.
question that really
Yeah.
is hitting me. Why do I hear more and more up-tempo country songs? Because it's, when somebody's driving down the freeway, they're not necessarily wanting intense, rip your heart out. Music is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And if you look at an album, you're probably going to have 80-90% up-tempo songs. But I really want to make the point that that doesn't necessarily mean that that's all you should write and that's all that's out there. Grammy voting is due. I think the ballots have to be received by tomorrow. So about a week ago, I sat and I listened for 2 days to every nominee in every major category because I'm a teacher and I need to know what's going on. And there were artists I wasn't aware of and songs I wasn't aware of. And I heard some incredibly good music in Americana that I wasn't aware of. Unbelievable songs by Nickel Creek and Roseanne Cash and people like that where, it's like it is out there. If you're not moved to write commercial formula songs, don't do it. Nobody's got a gun to your head.
I heard something amazing the other day. Do you know who Janova Magnus is?
No.
She is considered the reigning queen of contemporary blues. And she's
Huh.
a taxi screener. And
Huh.
people say that she is the greatest female blues artist since Coco Taylor.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she's had big charted records. She's been on Alligator Records. She just put out a new record fairly recently, maybe some months ago, and I think there are 2 taxi members that got cut. She actually asked,
Ooh.
can I run a listing looking for
Wow.
material for my record? So 2 taxi members made it onto her record. And she and I spoke, I believe, over the weekend, or maybe early this week, and I went home and I listened to that record. She said, the reason I want you to listen is it's not pure blues. She's known, kind of like Chicago blues style, pretty classic blues. And she's pushing the envelope and combining blues and Americana, and she had some stuff on that record
Wow.
that was breathtaking. So check out Janova Magnus, JANIVAMAGNESS, Janova Magnus. And just know that the reigning queen of contemporary blues is one of our blues screeners here at Taxi. And
Cool.
here's your music. All right, let's listen to another song. This
Okay.
one's called Winter Blows by Laura Peterson. And we do have a lyric sheet for this one, so here we go. Winter Blows.
The north is howling at my skin. A glimpse of what is to begin. It sends ripples up my spine. Endured this ache many a time. winter comes along and then it drags on and on, and it's almost more than I can take. 'Cause it's cold outside and the wind chills deep, and it's white as far as I can see. And once you think it's spring, then it snows again. That's just how the winter blows. That's just how winter blows. Glacial tides emerge and fall, and then the frost ensues its crawl. The draft slips underneath my sheets, the choking wrath of dormancy. Oh, the winter comes along and then it drags on, and it's almost more than I can take. 'Cause it's cold outside and the wind chills deep, and it's wide as far as I can see. And once you think it's spring, then it snows again. That's just how the winter blows. That's just how winter along and then it drags on, and it's almost more than I can take. 'Cause it's cold outside and the wind chills deep, and it's right as far as I can see. And once you think it's spring, then it snows again. That's just how the winter blows. That's just how winter blows. That's just how the winter blows. That's just how winter blows.
Do your thing.
Beautiful work, Laura. I mean, you're such a good singer. Production's just beautiful. It all sounds great. Most of the comments I had were really positive. Opening line grabbed me instantly, melodically and lyrically. I mean, I think that's so important. I think opening lines are critically important to give the listener really sort of a psychological moment to think, oh, wow, I just found something amazing, or it's going to be another okay song.
The law of instant attraction.
Yeah, exactly. And you get, a 10 for that opening line melodically as well as lyrically. Then in your pre-chorus, I really loved the chord change that was unexpected. So is there anything that could take this really good song to a next level? And I think there is. First, something very picky and little. At the end of your second verse, the choking wrath of dormancy just felt way too intellectual for my little pea brain. It pulled me out of the flow of the song. And they don't pay us extra for big words. So I would and that's the only place in the song where you went out of conversational language. So I would lose that. Okay, here's the big issue. The end of your chorus is, that's just how the winter blows. And for me, the whole lyric basically is a description of what winter does. Um, and I wanted it to go deeper. I wanted that to be an analogy for the singer's heartache. You know, that's how it blows. That's how the winter blows. Just like this heartache that you think it's over, you think it's spring, but then it blows again. You know,
So
the cold, the frost comes in again.
Incomplete thought.
Well, I think right now it's a complete thought. It's just not one that is satisfying for me.
Okay.
I don't need a whole song telling me what winter does. I want a song, and by the way, Laura, I'm talking about only adding maybe 1 or 2 lines to bring it into a next level, and it doesn't have to be heartache. Maybe we're not just talking about, maybe it's an analogy for life, that's, basically that what you're describing is the way life goes.
Are you saying replace 2 lines or add 2 lines?
Probably replace 2 lines.
Okay.
And for me, it's really good as is. It's funny, I said this a little bit ago, without teacher hat on, without a lyric sheet in front of me, it would probably just go right by and I'd say, wow, that sounds so nice. But when, I think partly, honestly, I think partly it's because I've been listening to some really amazing Americana music this week that goes so deep and has such intense power to it. And I just wanted this is how the winter blows to basically be an analogy for something bigger. And I think it would be easy to do. So
somebody, I think it was Amanda Erie, asked, what genre would you say this is in? And I thought that was a valid question.
That's a tough thing for me to answer. What do you think?
It's not truly Americana, although it
could be.
It skews that way somewhat, because Americana, the true definition, I believe, I had like a world-class expert on Americana on the show a couple of years ago, and he said it's got to be about something. What's the famous painting? The guy holding the pitchfork, farmer next to his wife.
American Gothic.
Yes, American Gothic. Whenever you're thinking of Americana, think of that photo because it describes an American scene. And that's what this guy was like a world-class expert, written books on Americana. He said that's the true definition. But we've gotten away from it to where it's watered-down country blended with some folk elements.
It's everything. It's we don't know what to do with this song, so let's call it Americana.
Yeah, it's like A&R guys, when they don't know what to call a song, they say, that's a film and TV pitch.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I don't have a good answer, and I was curious to see if you did, because I really don't know what kind of artist I would pitch that to. Or, I mean, it could be a song that she would do as herself as an artist.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because
I don't think
to pitch.
I think especially unless it went to such a deep. But even no matter what the song was, it's incredibly hard to get outside cuts with Americana artists. Most of them are singer-songwriters. They're amazing singer-songwriters, the best of them. So that's where I would put it.
Okay.
But you did really good work, Laura. You really did. I mean, I'm trying to take something that's really excellent already and see if there's not a way to take it that one little itty bitty tiny bit further.
I'd like to get your opinion on one thing in the song.
Okay.
And it wasn't a major faux pas, but there was a musical interlude. And I kind of think I heard a couple of sound effects go by.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you don't need that interlude. You're going to lose audience because there's not enough interesting stuff going on there to hold them.
Yeah.
Is there something she could have done in place of that, or do you just simply chop it out?
She's calling it a bridge on the lyric sheet, and she says bridge and then ooh, ooh, ooh. I would either cut it in half. But I think, first of all, the sound effects thing was very odd.
Yeah.
I would lose that for sure. And I think you want it to be more defined, whatever you're going to do there. Something maybe a little bit more melodic if you don't want to do something with a lyric.
She could tie it into what you suggested for the chorus, where she could have the bridge give a little further explanation of... Yeah. I don't know how to do it because I'm not a writer, but... could take advantage of that space.
I agree totally. Good
point. All right. Well, thank you very much, Laura. And I thought it was really
Mhm.
funny because Laura had just made a comment on the chat room, and I didn't even see it till after I hit the play button. And this is by Laura
Mm.
Peterson, and she had just been in the chat room. So cool that you're watching the show. Thank you. And let's go on to
Wait,
what
let me answer a question.
Sure.
Hey, Dan Lowe. Um, he's saying that Dan is responding to somebody saying it happens all the time when the person asked, would the difficulty of putting something into a genre put a publisher off? Absolutely, but the bigger issue for people to realize is publishers are not just looking for great songs, they're looking for great songs that can earn money. They're in business.
Right.
And these sort of like hard to define genres that are sort of singer-songwritery typically are not the domain of a publisher. They tend to be what singer-songwriters can do for themselves, but unless a publisher can find artists who sell a lot of records or get a lot of airplay or do something that's going to generate a lot of income, they are not going to sign any song.
I know where I'd pitch this song.
Where would you pitch this song?
What's the name of the Irish all-female group? They're very pretty with long, flowy dresses, and they advertise their records on TV.
Yeah.
I can't think of the
The
name.
Celtic something or
Yeah,
other.
Celtic
Yeah.
something or other. Yeah. This song could very easily go Celtic, and done by a group like that could
That
work.
is very strong idea. It's a great idea.
I have a moment every now and then.
I had
Okay.
one once. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the third song, which
Okay.
is called She's a Dynamite by Alex Alexander. And here we go. Whoa.
You're welcome, Laura.
I was already on the third one. Here we go.
I met this girl, cute as could be. She told me stories I couldn't believe. With a smile that could break off a tree. I went on stage and she starts screaming to me. Girls got rock stars hanging top of cop cars, drinking till the night's done, sleeping till the lunchtime, standing on the front line, walking to the hard sun, tattoos on the back line. Damn, these girls are so shining bright. Girl in a bright world, shining so bright, like a star at night. Nothing stops her, but damn, she's so fly. I just don't know why. She's a dynamite, dynamite. She took my hand and dragged me along and told me, baby, write a rock and roll song with some guitars and you on your own. And then she screamed it out, baby, come on. Girls rock rock stars, hanging top of cop cars, drinking till the night's done, sleeping till the lunchtime, standing on the front line, walking to the hard sun, tattoos on the back line. Damn, those girls are so shining bright. Girl in a bright world, shining so bright, like a star at night. Nothing stops her, but damn, she's so fly. I just don't know why. She's a dynamite, dynamite. There is nothing stopping me now, blocking me now. So please get out of my way. I just need to get this girl. She's the top of my world, and now she's screaming, calling my name. Girls young rock stars, hanging top of cup cars, drinking till the night's done, sleeping till the lunchtime, standing on the front line, walking to the hard sound, tattoos on the back line. Baby, come on. Girls young rock stars, hanging top of cup cars, drinking till the night's done, sleeping till the lunchtime, standing on the front line, walking to the hard sound, tattoos on the back line. Damn, those girls are so shining bright. Girl in a bright world, shining so bright, like a star at night. Nothing stops her, damn, she's so fly. I just don't know why. She's a dynamite, dynamite.
Wow.
It telegraphed the ending well because I'm moving to pick up the audience.
No kidding. Wow. Alex, what a melody. My God. Very, very, very strong. Chorus is a smash. I mean, it just sounds like, the The only thing wrong with this song is it's not already a hit, not already recorded. Actually, that's mostly true. But I might have just a couple little tweaks.
You are the world's foremost expert at presenting suggestions in the most gentle and productive way.
Well, thank you. I find it works a little bit better than saying, this really sucks. You know, instead, no. But I mean, this is really strong. All kidding aside, but I do think there are a couple little things that could be stronger. Third line. Here's your verse. Okay, I met this girl, cute as could be. She told me stories I couldn't believe. With a smile that could break off a tree? Huh? I mean, I want...
well, he's branching out into something fresh.
No kidding. But let's just leave that for now. Okay. So, fresh, original is good. That's too far. To me, that line just is totally out of the realm of what this song is about. A smile that could break off a tree. Now, what you actually wrote on your lyric sheet is with a smile that could break of a three. But I'm sure that what was sung was break off a tree. Speaking of lyric sheets, people, it's really important to not have mistakes on your lyric sheet. And this one is not full of, but it has quite a few mistakes. I meet this girl. No, I met this girl is what was sung. Okay, that aside.
And verse is spelled incorrectly.
Yeah, no kidding.
The first thing on the page.
You mean there's no E in verse?
Not in this page.
Damn. Okay. So now we get to this smash hit chorus that sounds so good that I don't really care what it says. Mm-hmm. And neither will most of the people who are listening to it because it just sounds like a smash. But when I put it under my little microscope, the end of your chorus is, I don't know why, but she's a dynamite. And I think those are the two weakest lines in your song. I don't know why, to me, is a total throwaway. It's like we're just filling up space. The issue in this song is not, I don't know why. Tell me one more thing. It's a really important spot to set up your title. And I think it's a chance to have this just killer image. Now, she's a dynamite. Doesn't work for me. Of course, we could say the same thing about a firecracker. Mm-hmm. To me, was very strange, very uncomfortable. It didn't seem to bother, the millions of people who rushed out and bought the Katy Perry record. But I don't love a dynamite. Nor do I actually love dynamite. First of all, of course, it's already been done by Taio Cruz, but I just don't think it's what you're leading to in this song. What is this song really about? Girls love rock stars, and she's a rock girl in a pop world. That's what this song is really about. How can you tie that all together with a killer title other than she's a dynamite, which to me is just, I think it's being a little bit lazy in a song that deserves better because everything else about the song is pretty incredible. Until we get to the bridge, and then you run into a problem. There's nothing stopping me now or blocking me now, so please get out of my way. I just need to get this girl. Wait a minute. I need to get this girl. It sort of implies to me that like she's in the audience almost, and she's screaming out my name. She's screaming, calling my name. I'm almost thinking he doesn't have her yet. He wants her. But wait a minute. I look back on the first verse, and he already met her. I met this girl. Cute as could be. She told me stories. Well, you know what? Maybe I'm being too picky, but here's my real issue. He knows all about this girl. She's a rock girl in a pop world. Nothing stops her.
Right.
It's like you know all this stuff about her, but you don't even know her?
This brings up one of the biggest questions I've had in 23 years of running this company. You started out by saying, wow, this is great. Sounds like a hit.
Yeah.
And you've got all these fine-tuning things that you would suggest doing to it. A Taxi member who gets a critique from a screener at Taxi that would make similar suggestions, which are nitpicky but crucial, the reaction from the member is, why didn't you send it to the person in the industry and see if they felt the same way about those fine tuning things? So would you present this to a major label VP of A&R and say, there's your next smash hit, or would you implore the writer to go back and fix these things?
Okay, every time anybody plays your song for anybody, they're putting their own credibility and their own reputation on the line, whether it's Taxi doing it, or whether it's me recommending somebody to a publisher or a record label person or whatever. I have got to completely believe in that song. I think it would be crazy to not get it as absolutely strong as it can be. Trust me, no matter what fixes you make, there's going to be some A&R person or artist or producer who's still going to want more changes. Not always, but it can happen. So I certainly would not want to pitch something that already had little problems that I was aware of.
Are they going to be that picky? I completely agree with what you said. I would contend that any publisher worth their salt would have the same observations that you did. And it astounds songwriters that anybody would look further down the lyric and go, but hold on, you're saying you don't know this or you don't know that about her, but you already identified that you did at the top of the song. That's standard, right? Standard observational stuff.
Yeah, but my feeling is not, well, why wouldn't you just play it for this person and let them decide? My feeling instead to the writers would be, why would you not want your song to be as perfect as it possibly can be? You're not just trying to see how much can you get away with and still have a hit. You want to know that when the song is a hit, that you feel amazing about it. Not that for the rest of your life you're going to be playing that song and thinking, oh my God, that stupid verse.
How do you train yourself as a writer to go through the lyric? Take yourself out of the song, don't listen to it. Just look at a lyric sheet. If you are the writer, look at your own lyric and try to identify those mistakes, things that are like cognitive dissonance, where this doesn't tie to that.
Right. I think it's a matter of being aware of it. Anybody that's listening right now should be making a note. Okay, let me look over my lyrics and make sure that I'm not changing what I'm saying from one place to the next. There's a lot of instances where we do that. But sometimes people are still going to miss it because we have this blind spot when it comes to our own songs, sometimes, like all the time. And I think that's why we need input. I think that's why we need somebody to look at it and say, wow, this could be a smash. But there's this one little problem. I want to tell you something, Alex. I think this could be a smash anyway. I think that somebody might not put it under that microscope. I think it would behoove you to put it under the microscope first so that you can blow somebody away and not let them think, oh, he's so great, but. I would say cover the but.
Yeah. I have a challenge I want to present to you guys. During the last song of the song before, we were talking about hip hop and mashing up, a hip hop beat with country music. I want to do a show, not let's say a month out from now, because I've got stuff booked already for upcoming episodes, where you guys take songs and take an Indian, like Bollywood drum beat, mash it up with a drum line, like marching band drum beat, which I've always wanted to make a record. Someday I'm going to take a week off from Taxi and go make a record that does that, because the two would mash up really well.
Wow.
Take a song like this and put that beat under it and see what happens. It could be a total mess. I don't know. But why doesn't everybody watching the show do that? And where are we at now? We're like January 16th, 17th. So sometime mid-February, late February, I'm going to do a show and have you guys send in your songs with the Bollywood drumline mashup, and we'll take a listen to them and see what happens. Anyway, just a thought.
Just to the person who really, really has to use the bathroom but does not want to leave and miss any of these incredible tips, please go use the bathroom. That's all. Okay.
Or do what truck drivers do. Use a bottle.
There you go.
All right, let's go on to song number 4, which is called Don't You Come Around No More. And this is by Tommy Parker.
Don't you Trifling woman, just leave me be. There's no hope if you leave me. You better hear me say, don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Trifling woman, leave me alone. I'm better off here on my own. I'm traveling alone, we are too late. You took my love, left only hate. You better hear me say, don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Traveling woman, just move on. Life's just fading now that you're gone. Oh, traveling woman, just turn around before you see 6 feet underground. You better hear me say, don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Now, woman, you know what you did me wrong. You took everything I had, but you never gave myself. Now, woman, you might think you can come on back, but let this song remind you that there ain't no chance of that. You better hear me say, don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more.
That's kind of cool and interesting.
No kidding. I don't know what the deal is with the lyric sheet. There's something messed up at the top. The opening thing, top of the lyric sheet says, it's country life.
Huh.
Don't you come around no more, Tommy Parker. I have a feeling it's country life is from some other page or something. Anyway.
Yeah, or the album title or something.
Yeah. Wow, this is very cool and very interesting. Gosh, I wonder if anybody could possibly remember this chorus. You know, duh, yes, and yes. Don't you come around here no more, no more. Don't you come around no more. It's really strong. You did great work on that, Tommy. That's what you want to do, is come up with something that is going to burn into the brain. You did it great.
It's fresh.
Yeah, it really is. You know, if I'm going to have one main issue, it's the word trifling. You know, hearing it over and over again in this song, it's like I might be okay with it if I sort of heard it once, but it's not your title, and I just think it's a pretty odd thing to say. Yes, it's original, and you know what? I always say, I only have an opinion. It's not my life, it's not my song. You're the artist. If that's what you want to say it. I don't love the word trifling. For one thing, without a lyric sheet in front of me, I'd probably have no idea what he's saying. Is trifling woman. I'm like, what?
Not a common part of the vernacular.
Right, and that's why I wouldn't know what he's saying. Triflin, or I just wouldn't get it. I just think there's a stronger word there. Pretty powerful to say, go away, back to hell. I mean, that's really strong. I really like, you're too late, you took my love, left only hate. That's really good. Now we get into the exact same problem that the last person had, where there's a disconnect, where you're saying one thing, but it doesn't go with the other thing. Trifling woman, just move on. Life is better now that you're gone. Wait a minute. I thought she was gone. Why would you tell her to move on? She's already gone.
So you'd have to change the tense or whatever you call it. Trifling woman, just move on. Life would be better if you were gone.
Exactly. Right. Or just change the line about just move on. Mm. Is she there? I think she's there. Just turn around before you're 6 feet underground. Man, that's pretty intense. You're going to kill her? We don't even know what she did, but okay, if that's...
Interesting that you point that out. That's the kind of stuff Nashville publishers would say to me in a meeting. I don't know what she did, but you're making that statement. And it's not that they're trying to be picky. They're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to tear you apart. It just popped into their head because they saw the lack of connection.
I think if I'm going to say to somebody, you either get out of here or I'm going to kill you, I better know that this person has done something really bad. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, I don't love you anymore. It's like...
That's one way to end it.
What did you do exactly? Was it, cheating with my best friend? I'm not saying that I need to know exactly what she did. Although, frankly, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if I did get some of that. I don't need to know that, but I do if you're going to say I'm going to kill you if you don't leave.
Have you seen American Sniper? Is that the name of the movie?
It's the name, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, I saw it last night. There's a scene in the movie. I'm not going to give anything away. Mm-hmm. This song would have been excellent for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
That would have been a great placement.
Cool. In your bridge, I wasn't loving the spoken thing. Partly, I think it could have been a production issue. It just didn't feel like it was working for me. And compared to what it was sounding like, I would have preferred a melody. But maybe I would have been okay with it being spoken if it had been produced differently. Also, there were a few places where I felt like for instance, I think the chorus sounds perfect. Totally strong artist. But there were a few places where I felt like it wasn't quite strong enough production-wise in terms of the vocal. And I think that's just a matter of having somebody, standing back or having somebody that you trust say to you, you gotta cut this line a couple more times till we get it just right.
It reminds me of old blues that came from the cotton field call and response kind of stuff. Yeah. And listening to it with the producer's hat on, I wanted definitely more bottom end on this, and the fact that you did mash it up with kind of a hip hop beat, you could have had hand claps a la "We Will Rock You" in there. Yeah. A bigger, in your face, kicking you in the chest, bottom end, and why not throw in a big drop or something to bring, make it even more modern? But there's a ton of potential.
I agree totally. It's just a shame that they're not looking for songs right now for "Brother, Where Art Thou."
Yeah.
Because I think this would have been perfect.
You know what else would be perfect for? I made a note, Sons of Anarchy. When that show was on the air, we used to run listings for them all the time. This would have been great for, I can think of 3 or 4 different types of scenes that this would have worked in.
And I liked your instrumental also. I thought it was really strong, really interesting. Really good work.
Yep. Worth taking to A+.
I agree.
Awesome. Okay, let's see how we doing on time. We're fine. Any comments from you guys? Senator they like the Sons of Anarchy. Hand claps would be great.
Somebody said it's an old blues thing. Killing women was just a part of a lot of old songs.
Yeah. Well, not so much in today's world.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in some parts of the world, yeah.
No kidding.
Okay, let's move on to track number 5, which is a song called Sugar Rush by Deborah Gussin.
Now, wait.
Yes.
Before we play it,
yes,
there's something I want to talk about. This is a really weird coincidence. It is coincidence. It has to do with Deborah Gussin, so I have to say it. Hey, Deborah, if you're listening, I hope you are. Deborah, for people who don't know, is like the reigning queen of winning the contests, the songwriting contests. Wow, has she won a lot of contests, and well deserved, and very, very good writer. So anyway, she happened to be at the class that I taught last night at UCLA, And one of the things that came up that was so interesting and coincidental is that I had told Michael that one of the things I'd hoped maybe to talk about today is the biggest mistake that I used to make when I would write for TV and film. Now that's different from submitting to a listing that's telling you exactly what kind of a song they want and whatever. I would actually get hired at times to write for a scene in a TV show. And the biggest mistake that I made over and over again was I would write too close to what the scene was. I would be describing things that were happening in the story, or mentioning things that had to do with the story or something that had unfolded, not realizing that the job of music is to underscore the emotion that the director wants to evoke in the listener. They've already seen what's on the screen and what's in the script. So now let's go back to last night, where at Marty Panzer's UCLA songwriting lyric class, they had an assignment. And their assignment was to write a song that would be the end credit for a big movie. There were a couple of different movies that were presented as options. There were two different movies. The first one I listened to, the person did such a good job of what they were trying to accomplish, but they were trying to accomplish the wrong thing. Okay. They were bringing in so much about the movie itself. That's not what you want.
Especially for the end credit, because the story's already been
told. Exactly. The question for the end credit is, what emotion do you want somebody to walk out of the theater feeling? It's the emotion, not the movie that you're telling in the song. Well, anyway, then the next one that I critiqued was by Deborah Gusson. And it was almost perfection.
Wow.
She did such a great job of totally presenting the perfect emotion for that movie without saying anything about the movie itself. And that's the lesson. You want to write the emotion for an end credit piece, not just an end credit, any piece of music that's going to be used. You don't want to describe what's happening on the screen. You want to underscore and evoke the emotion that scene is supposed to make somebody feel. That is the biggest mistake I used to make. I would get assigned.
What was the turning point that made you stop doing that? How did you learn that lesson?
I don't know. I'm glad I learned it somewhere along the way. Maybe it was a situation where it's like, after banging my head against the same wall so many times, maybe, I don't know if somebody said to me, explained it to me, or if I just woke up one day, stopped banging my head and went, oh, I think I'm doing this wrong. But, that's the deal. I have had a song that is so successful in TV and films, it's crazy. The same song has been in about 20 different major placements. Scrubs, Friday Night Lights, Assassination Games. I mean, really big things. And it's never about the scene.
Right.
They use it in all these different scenes. They're not the same scene.
Is it a love song? What type of song is it?
It's a sexy song.
Okay.
It's sort of a hip-hop influenced pop kind of very sexual kind of thing.
But without being overtly sexual.
Right.
Okay. So a lot of uses for
and
that.
up-tempo.
Yeah.
And, of course, there was a time, just like you said this before, where I would be in a workshop and somebody would play me the absolute least commercial song you could ever imagine that was always like mournful and slow. It sounded like a funeral dirge. Well, what are your thoughts? What are you going to do with this song? TV and film.
Yeah.
And of course, at least in my experience, those are the kind of songs that would be the toughest to place, not the easiest ones.
In film and TV?
Yeah. In anything.
Well, for those sad, mournful situations, yeah.
Of course.
But, if you had to categorize what are the things they look for most often in TV and film, it's falling in love, falling out of love, discovering love, the first blush of love. party stuff. Going out, gonna have a good time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not mournful, something sounds like it should be played at a funeral.
Dead silence. We're at a funeral.
Okay, we were about to listen to Deborah's
let's
song
hear
before I
that song.
bragged on her.
Okay, and this again is called Sugar Rush by
Gosh.
Deborah Gusson.
And it better be good after what I just said. Wow.
Damn straight.
I've been around enough to know what makes me tick. I want the kind of lover that you can't predict. Addicted to the danger and the mystery. Are you the one to satisfy my fantasy? Rock, rock, what you got with that bad boy attitude. Strike, strike, while I'm hot, hot. Take control and make your move. Sugar rush, gotta score some more that passionate commotion. Sugar rush, my adrenaline is rising. Sugar rush, give it up and let me take your sweet emotion. Sugar rush, baby, work it till I'm flying. No, I don't care if you go so you can kiss and tell. Cause all the haters in this club can go to hell. Come on and blow my mind before I go insane. You'll know your job is done when I forget my name. Rock, rock, what you got with that bad boy attitude. Strike, strike, while I'm hot, hot. Take control and make your move. Sugar rush, gotta score some more that passionate commotion. Sugar rush, my adrenaline is rising. Sugar rush, give it up and let me take your sweet emotion. Sugar rush, baby, work it till I'm flying. My head is spinning cause I'm close to you. Just thinking about the things I wanna do. So let me ride you right up into the sky. I need you to excite me, to delight me, to ignite me. Yes, gotta score some of that passionate commotion. Sugar rush, my adrenaline is rising. Sugar rush, give it up and let me take your sweet emotion. Sugar rush, baby, work it till I'm flying. Sugar rush, gotta score some of that passionate commotion. Sugar rush, my adrenaline is rising. Sugar rush, give it up and let me taste your sweet emotion. Sugar rush, baby, work it till I'm flying.
Guess what that was called? Sugar Rush by Deborah Gusson. Deborah, are you in the house? And just want you guys to know, literally, Jason had nothing to do with, I had nothing
Honestly.
to do with picking these songs. The stuff was all picked by Sophia. And 5-10 minutes before we started the show, I said to Jason, here's a list of songs we're going to listen to today. And he, not only did he not hear any of them, he did not even look at the lyric sheets. He wanted to come in fresh on this stuff, which I think is really cool. So, by the way, Big Shot Boss, you can get rid of the commercials by downloading an ad blocker before the next episode. Just Google ad blocker for whatever, if you're using Firefox or whatever, and install it. They're free, and you won't get the commercials, so you won't be annoyed.
I thought they were talking about the commercials, like I was saying, like for my workshops and my books and things. But I actually don't get to do a commercial for this weekend's workshop
Because
in Los
it's sold
Angeles.
out already.
It is completely sold out.
Plug a
And-
book.
Yeah, okay, I'll plug a book. Which one should I plug? How about 6 Steps to Songwriting Success?
Yes, while you're plugging, I'll go see
And
I've
I'll
got a
also
copy of it.
I'll also plug my instructional CDs. But the point I want to make is you just cannot believe how many people are sending emails saying, please, can't you get me in the workshop? No, I can't. They cannot fit any more seats in. It is totally sold out. There's a long waiting list. But if you want to know about workshops like that in the future, go to jasonblume.com, contact us, and write a thing saying, please add me to your mailing list so that I'll know when you're doing something like that before it sells out. But, okay, Deborah, I hope you're listening.
I couldn't find the book. I just saw it literally yesterday.
This is, of course, perfectly crafted, amazingly strong demo. There are things about it I don't love. I'm going to tell you what. I mean, it's really good. Of course it's really good. Anybody can hear that. But I'm expecting a certain level of, like, blow me away. And here's my little issues. I think the title and the concept locks it very young. For me, this is a Disney artist kind of a song. I don't hear somebody in their 20s singing Sugar Rush. And yet, you've got the haters in this club can go to hell. Problem. I don't think a 14-year-old's going to sing it.
They could change it to HE double hockey sticks.
Yeah, but they're not going to be in the club. They're not going to be in a club.
Right.
Yeah, I've written a lot for very young artists. I had my big hit many, many years ago with a 12-year-old kid named Jason. Everybody thought it was me until they saw the video, and it was a very different color, and he sang much better than I will ever sing. But anyway, on that song, I remember learning, and I had a lot of other very young artists cut my songs. I think Jesse McCartney was 16 or 17 when he cut my song. And, you know, a lot of teen things. And I was told over and over again by A&R, no cars, no clubs, no, you know, what can this person do?
We just had one where they said, don't mention anything about night, because they were looking for songs for tweens, and night would infer hanky-panky, or that they're staying up past their age group.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I once went to a song pitch for a 12-year-old artist that was signed to a major label, and they brought in a lot of writers to talk to the artist. And I think I was the one who asked her, you know, well, obviously I can't give you a lyric that's in any way sexual, because they don't do that until they're 13. But anyway,
sadly.
Yeah. So I said, what can you sing about? And she said, you know, I can still have crushes. I can fall in love. I can sing about a kiss, even though it might be on the cheek. So it's like, you just have to be really careful of that. Anyway, Deborah, and for those listening to this, to me, it's a very young song. It's a very young song melodically as well as lyrically. So I'd be careful about hell and going into a club and stuff like that. But the biggest issue for me, really, this is so ironic, because Deborah was at the class, you know, that I taught last night, and I taught this tool, which was to set up your title and make it really pay off by leading to, like, what is the important word in this title? It's sugar. It's about a sugar rush. There is nothing in this lyric that has anything to do with sugar other than the word sweet that happens one time. Now, the song of mine that I talked about a little bit ago that's had all these TV film usages, it's called Show Me the Honey. It's like, you know, if you want to get down with me, there's something I need to see. You got to show me the honey so I know, you know, what's coming. I know what I'm going to get. So if I'm going to talk about showing me what's sweet, I want to set that up, not to the extent that it's a novelty song with all clever, cutesy, every line having a twist on words. And no. But I want something in there about, Love those chocolate candy kisses. It has to do with sweetness. And maybe it's like, I can taste, the love when or of course, you have to be careful if it's going to be that young. You probably don't want her tasting too much of that love.
No,
anyway,
I don't think so.
No. But the point...
This is a family show. We're going to keep it that way.
But what about candy?
Yeah.
What about, and the other thing is, I'm looking through,
Or possibly Rockstar.
Maybe. So, yeah, you've got adrenaline rising, but I want to hear more about that sugar rush that's like going through my veins, that gives me like, wow, what is it? What's it mean to have a rush? Just all this energy, like I'm exploding, and I'm missing that. Instead, I'm getting danger and mystery and a lover that I can't predict. In your first verse, they're not leading me to a sugar rush. You're not setting up this title as well as you could. I think there are some really good lines and melodies in here as well. I don't think your bridge is as fresh lyrically as the rest of the song. I think it's sort of like you settled on the bridge. My head is spinning round because I'm close to you. I'm just thinking about the things I want to do. So let me ride you right up into the sky. That's good. I need you to excite me, delight me, ignite me. I don't know. It's not bad. It's not wrong.
Too rhymey?
Yeah, maybe a little too cutesy. And that may just be completely my opinion. People who are listening, you might not realize that occasionally I'll say something that's not just, infallible, but is actually just my opinion.
Everybody's got
one.
one.
Yeah, it's happened once or twice.
Yeah.
Deborah, you are such a good writer. This is an excellent song. I think you could get it to that little bit of a next level. But wow, what a demo. And I think that's for this kind of song. It's melody, it's demo. Maybe you're going to be fine with it as is.
All right. Mm-hmm. That's about it. We'll take a couple of quick questions and let's wrap this puppy up. And a reminder, there will be no Taxi TV this coming Monday. I'm not going to be in the office on Monday.
What?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be out of here for a day.
Wow.
We will be doing another episode on the 26th of January. Another one. What's the next date? February 6th? My calendar's out in the hallway. And I want to let you know that, here's the calendar. Okay, so we're doing an episode on the 26th, and then I forget what I want to say, put it this way. I've got a music attorney who also happens to own a very high-end production music library that is going to come, and we are going to spend an hour talking about typical production music library deals. What, going from non-exclusive to exclusive to 50-50 splits to a co-pub deal to they own all your publishing. Every question you've got coming up in early February will be answered by Stephen Winogradsky, who is a great lawyer and happens to own a great music library.
There's some really good questions. Somebody asked me what I think of hitsongsdeconstructed.com. I think it's really good. I think David Penn does a great job of partly, it's part of what I do as a teacher, is look at what's working. What he does is he breaks apart the components. Why is this song working? What is the tempo? What is the concept? So I think that's always helpful. I also really like the question, have I ever tried to convert a ballad to an up-tempo song? Yes. If a song can really go either way, if it's like bisexual, I will typically go with the up-tempo direction. But I had a song that was recorded by one of the big TV contest winners in Norway. I think it was X Factor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was either that or Norwegian Idol. Anyway.
There actually is a Norwegian
Idol.
Yeah,
oh, come on, it's like in 37 countries. I had a cut that went platinum with Greek Idol.
Wow.
Yes. And, but anyway, back to, I have no idea what
Greek
is
Idol
that?
right there.
Oh, that is hilarious. On that song, it was this beautiful, tender ballad. And what a shock I had when I listened to the record, and it was a total up-tempo dance thing, and I loved it. And I actually pitched that version yesterday, the up-tempo version, because it just sounded awesome.
You sent me a song 2 or 3 years ago and said, "What do you think about it?" Remember that? And I wrote back and said, "Why don't you demo it this way?" You said, "Never crossed my mind." Sometimes it just takes.
You want to hear
outside
something really crazy?
Yeah.
I had a top 10 single with that song and a gold record this past year in
Right.
Europe.
With the slower version of it.
You know
or
what's
the-
interesting? I pitched, but for the thing is, what I did is I re-demoed it from like a piano vocal R&B thing to like a rock, big power rock thing that had a lot of tempo and drums and the whole thing. But the artist that I pitched it for was an R&B artist.
Great.
So I pitched the old version.
So it was a good pitch.
And they did an unbelievable job. The artist's name is Bygentl. It's the weirdest spelling, Dutch, Byentel. So if you Google Byentel and YouTube and then the names of my songs, that one is called Inside Your Heart. And they changed the structure on the song. And I was really upset about it when I first heard it.
Were you upset about it when you got the check?
Still waiting for the check. They took it from verse, chorus to verse, chorus.
Wow.
Because they said they thought it was too long for radio. And it was like, man, don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit through 2 verses of that song before we get to the chorus. But what they did with the rest of this song, I don't think I've ever loved a cut that much.
Wow.
Where I sat there when the chorus hit, the big chorus hit. And remember, I pitched a keyboard vocal.
Yeah.
And it came back at me with timpani and this huge thing when the chorus hit and a gospel choir.
Wow.
It was like I had plugged my hand into an electric socket, and this does not happen often. It does not happen often that they change your song much from your demo at all, and it certainly doesn't happen that you like it, and I loved it. The other songs I had with her, if you want to hear them, are Inside Out, that just, these things are not important to me, but it did just happened to go #1 at iTunes, and
Yeah, it doesn't mean
I don't really care. But and then the other one was called Unbreakable Hearts. It was a fun year.
And the fact that Yentl cut one of your songs. For any of you old enough to remember Barbra Streisand and Yentl. All right.
Oh my God, I love it. Somebody said bisexual. Is that a swinging song? I like it. It is indeed.
Oh, and Russell wants to know, did you have to share writing credit or arrangement credit because they rearranged it?
No. Not only, I mean, if I was going to have to share credit, they would have probably asked me first. They never asked me first. First time I ever hear it, it's done.
I got asked the other day, and I didn't know the absolute for sure answer to something, which was if you take somebody's song, if you're doing a cover and you change it, isn't there something where you get like a 20% cut of that version or something? If you cover somebody's, I'm trying to remember the exact circumstance, but you're covering somebody's song, but you change some aspect of it. I can't remember now.
What you would most typically get in a case like that would be a lawsuit, not a percentage, because you can only make changes within, like, I can't remember exactly how it's worded in copyright law, but you cannot make substantial changes to somebody's song without their permission.
Right.
And you can't just make a change and then, go back to John Legend or something and say, oh, by the way, I made these changes in all of me and now I'm 25% writer.
Right.
I mean, you'll just get sued. People do make changes, but they're usually pretty subtle. And I think if you're going to get any kind of credit on that change, it's got to be discussed up front with the publisher.
I've got to go back and watch the episode to get the, or go. Sometimes I save the chats and I want to ask, when Steve Winogradsky's here, we've come across this before, especially when, I can't even think of the right scenario, so let me just blow by that. We'll talk about it once I know what the hell I'm talking about. public domain, that's a situation where that could
Mhm.
come up, where you're taking a PD song and doing it. Change a word, get a third. That's Nashville.
Oh yeah.
It's also urban. Oh my gosh, I can't believe when you go to the ASCAP or BMI Awards, and they're giving out the Song of the Year and like 12 writers
Exactly.
hit the stage. It's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
how could they have 12 people on
Okay.
a song?
One of the ways is in a lot of those instances, the musicians on the track
Yeah,
who contributed, say, a guitar lick, they might get 5% of the song.
yeah.
I mean, that would never, ever happen in Nashville, but I know of instances where it does and has happened, especially on urban and
Oh
urban
yeah,
pop.
it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. All right, with that, let me thank you very much. Sorry we couldn't fill some more seats for you on the thing, but it's full already, and they actually added 3 folding chairs, so he's at
Yes,
max
yes.
capacity. JasonBlume.com, and great to see you. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming and joining us once
Thank
again
you.
on another exciting episode of Taxi. Almost buried the audience. TV, and thank you guys for showing up on a Friday. I appreciate it. We will see you soon. Bye bye.